Okay, so I've been sitting here for kind of a while trying to figure out what I was going to do with this style of Let's Play. I thought I wanted to do some kind of weird whole, oh, do a narrative, make a whole scripted thing, and then I sat at it and was staring at a screen in a Word document for like 5 minutes, and then I was like, yeah, no, I don't think that's going to work. So instead, I'm just going to make this basically a, I don't know, meme-filled joke level of highlights of things that I'm working with. I'm not really sure at this point. I'm just recording Elden Ring gameplay and seeing what happens to it as it goes, so, take this with a grain of salt and whatever ends up with the character. At the least, I do have a bit of a character in mind, and I'm not sure if I'm going to find a way to insert jokes about it, but, the confessor known as Siegfried, who I totally did not accidentally... No, I did accidentally somehow make him look like the Giga Chad. I don't know how I did it, but I did, and... well, once this gets underway, it'll be very simple. This is just a very simple Let's Play of me playing through again, and definitely not planning to make a ton of jokes about me metagaming and using all of my knowledge about the map and all this other stuff to just do really stupid shit as I play through in chapters. So, enjoy. Enjoy the absolute stupidity that is me playing this game.
The fallen leaves tell a story. The great Elden Ring was shattered. In our home, across the fog, the lands between. Now, Queen Marika the Eternal is nowhere to be found. And in the night of the Black Knives, Godwyn the Golden was first to perish. Soon, Marika's offspring, demigods all, claimed the shards of the Elden Ring. The mad taint of their newfound strength triggered the shattering. A war from which no lord arose. A war leading to abandonment by the greater will. Oh, rise now, ye tarnished, ye dead who yet live. The call of long-lost grace speaks to us all. Horalu, chieftain of the Badlands, the ever-brilliant Gold Mask. Fear, the deathbed companion, the loathsome dung-eater, and Sir Gideon Ofnir, the all-knowing. And one other, whom grace would again bless. A tarnished of no renown. Cross the fog to the lands between. stand before the Elden Ring and become the Elden Lord.
Chapter 1, Limgrave, Part 1. So if I'm going to be totally honest here, the whole process behind this didn't take long for me to settle on what character I was going to play. I'd already made a Dex Int build as my main character as the PvP video I posted before showed off, so I wanted to try something different. In this case, I wanted to make Strength Faith, and ironically, it probably would have been easier for me to start off with a Vagabond if I wanted to do a Strength Faith build. But I kind of wanted to play into the character, like what kind of character an Elden Ring would go for, a strength and faith focused build, so why not start as a Confessor? Admittedly, Confessor is probably not one of the better starting classes. The equipment isn't bad, and I really like the cloak and cape set that it has. But in terms of stats, Confessor is kind of a rough start. You have only 10 in vigor and endurance, which means you're kind of admittedly, you're kind of fragile even compared to some of the other classes that you could pick. But that boost in faith and everything, it's not a bad start, but you're just kind of spread thin for some of the initial stats, so it's not really the best choice. But in the case of me, I'm just role-playing a bit, so I'm having my fun here. Here I was kind of... What I was going to do here, if I was going to try and be all dramatic about it, was to have narration about, looking out at the Erd Tree at Stormvale Castle Beyond, and the whole, frickin' grounds of the chapel and whatnot, and then I realized that I was having a hard time writing that, so I decided, you know what, fuck it, let's do memes. Just have the character prowl around and do stuff, and have dramatic narration over it about the thoughts of this confessor named Siegfried and shit, and then I realized I had no thoughts in my head about that, despite the stuff that I do write on the regular, which was kind of funny as I just stared for a while and then went off to start watching YouTube videos, so, that was, that made for a time. Anyway, allow me to, cut to getting my ass kicked by the Grafted Scion because I suck at fighting this in early game.
Don't worry, Torrent. Fortune is on his side. We found him here, after all. One of his kind is sure to seek the Elden Ring. Even if it does violate the Golden Order.
I think I can be totally honest and say that when I first played Elden Ring, after you get beat by the Grafted Sign, I legitimately thought that, there not being some extra cutscene to go with the whole Sounds of Fallen was some kind of glitch, and no, that's just how Elden Ring is. It doesn't have anything extra going for it. It just is that way because that's just how the game goes. It's almost funny in how it is. But I can't say it's a bad introduction. I've never actually got. Now, granted, I haven't done like a crap load of playthroughs of Elden Ring compared to some people who you know have spent hundreds of hours refining the game and doing everything and that kind of thing. But I have played enough. You know, I've done a full playthrough. Whatever. I've finished the game. I can say that. So I have a lot of foreknowledge of things. But it is just kind of an interesting experience to go back when you want to try a new build. Usually because you're so used to what you've been maining for a while. In my case, the whole fast as hell Dex int thing with Moonveil. That it's interesting for me to want to go back and try this again with something that I know is inevitably going to be slower. Like, trust me, I have a plan. I have a plan for where this build is going. My end goal is Ordovis's Greatsword and the other Crucible spear. But, you know, that'll have to wait for a while, so I'm going to have to make do. But, oh god, walking up on there, I remember frickin' I haven't actually finished that Hero's Grave in my main character. I mean, I did go through to get Erdtree's favor, and I might have to open this up again later just to do the same thing on this guy. But I haven't actually finished it, if only because I'm lazy, which is a pretty good explanation for a lot of things in me with some games and stuff. But, you know, it is what it is. But, I don't know, we'll just carry on here. I already have a plan for some funny stuff, just like, you know, yeah, well, you'll see it when you see it anyway. Anyway, time to get out to Limgrave and then get roasted by Vare.
Oh, yes. Tarnished, are we? Come to the lands between for the Elden Ring? Hmm? Of course you have. No shame in it. Unfortunately for you, however, you are maidenless. Without guidance, without the strength of runes, and without an invitation to the Round Table Hold, you are fated, it seems, to die in obscurity. Luckily for you, however, there is one shining ray of hope for even the maidenless. Me, Vare. Take care to listen. Are you familiar with grace? The golden light that gives life to you tarnished. You may also behold its golden rays, pointing in a particular direction at times. That is the guidance of grace, a path that a tarnished must travel. Indeed. Grace's guidance holds the answers. It will lead you tarnished to the path you are meant to follow, even if it leads you to your grave.
Okay, so this is another moment where I was thinking of just going to a whole dramatic situation like, oh, I sweeping across to the west of the lake, to the east of the coast, and all that shit. And then in the views, you know, the castle, and then beyond, once again, seeing the whole chapel near Stormvale, wondering how it is you even ended up past there and whatever, because I just don't have the patience in me to actually write that out. I probably could. I'm just being impatient with myself because I'm dumb and stupid and have no time for this shit. But, what I did do here, though, following is I also decided I was not going to attempt to fight the Tree Sentinel at this time, because frankly speaking, I am many things. I would call Reckless, one of them. But I know better than to try and fight the Tree Sentinel right now, so I didn't. I do have a buddy, though, who's playing a deprived character, and he actually decided to fight it. Only took him 8 tries, so that was actually pretty good of him. So, instead of mowing on that and just sneaking around, it's time to just move on, and then maybe, I don't know, do a montage of backstabbing a bunch of soldiers after meeting Kale and that kind of shit, because, hey, that's how life be. Oh, God help me.
You're tarnished. I can see it. But I can also see that you're not after my throat. Then why not purchase a little something? I am Kale, purveyor of fine goods. I am of a nomadic people, selling wares as I travel. The land has been tainted by madness since the shattering of the Elden Ring. It's only tarnished like yourself, who keep things from drying up entirely. Let's say you're a very welcome customer. You know, if you can spare the runes, you should buy yourself a crafting kit. A crafting kit allows you to make basic items on your own. Essential, really, if you intend to survive out here for any duration. The kit costs a bundle, and I admit I do take my cut. But the important thing is that you survive. Every customer counts, after all. Goodbye, for now.
So I have to admit, going into this boss fight in the cave, it had been so long since I'd played low-level Elden Ring, and I was so used to being in late game with high stats and all kinds of abilities to make use of that. Just having to fight as something that has a Beast of Fair Missoula with a limited early game moveset, it was kind of throwing me off because it had been so long, and just, simple stuff. I mean, it's not like I played too badly, but I'm so used to having a wealth of resources and abilities and just being able to go all out in a fight that having to play defensively again was kind of shaking me off my game. I got back used to it quickly enough, but it wasn't quickly enough to not, eventually get through this fight and not get pancaked at a point of it. I got close at least, but it wasn't close enough. I certainly tried though, but when you're unused to something and it's been a while that you need to adjust back to it, you just kind of got to do what you got to do. It's not that I didn't know, I was focused on guard breaking and stances and whatever. I just wasn't abusing jump attacks as much as I probably should have been in this first go-around, which, well, you'll see how that pans out in a few seconds here, because, unfortunately, I am an idiot. Oh, gods. So if there was a zone in early game Elden Ring that I think was kind of a good marker of like the first general test, aside from the fact that you can fight the Fair Missoula beast in the cave, it's definitely the Gatefront Ruins. If only because I think it's one of the first spots of the map, if you follow the intended pathway at the least, unless you're one of those people who decides to go wild and be like, hey, let me just go off to Lake Agil first and, run into the goddamn dragon. It's kind of one of the first more complex enemy layouts because you have people in different zones where you can't see them, you have guards, you have your first example of a bugle caller who can call in the whole group and whatever. So it's kind of a good way to kind of adjust and see what you've picked, and see if you can make use of what you've picked up in the early game so far. Like, oh, what can you do with against a group of enemies? Can you sneak around them to get to thin out the herd before you deal with the big guys? And, stuff like that. It's really simple, but I also think it's a pretty effective learning device. Plus, it also introduces you to the idea of like, oh, hey, those big metal carriages usually have a treasure chest, so if you find one, check it out, stop it. You'll probably find some loot and something that might be pretty useful with what you find there. So it's a pretty good method to get things all checked out and run through, I think. It's a good learning device. Early Elden Ring, I think, does do a good job of teaching you how to play the game and to be aware of what's going on around you and when to slow down and take things at a different pace and check them out and all that stuff. So, it's a pace. There's definitely a way to learn. And in this case, with the Confessor, I was also trying to experiment a bit, using the Assassin's approach to silence my character's footsteps in some parts, seeing if I can't use it to sneak up on the enemy NPCs and whatever. Granted, I'm pretty sure this incantation isn't going to stay in my slots as the game goes on and I start getting what I actually want, that being the Dragon Cult and Crucible incantations, but, I'll get there when I get there. For now, though, it's just about snooping around, taking what kills I can, and collecting loot until I get at everything I need, which, unfortunately is not going to be for a while, so until then, it's just snoop around, use what weapons I can, and scrounge together an effective loadout so I get to a mid-game point when I can start collecting what I want. At the least, knowing me and being as tricky as I am, I'd, probably going to at least get something early on more than I should. I don't know, an early trip to Caleb to go kill a certain dragon. Who knows? That might just be what happens soon. We'll see about that. Anyway, enjoy watching me slaughter the rest of this camp.
Greetings, traveler from beyond the fog. I am Melina. I offer you an accord. Have you heard of the Finger Maidens? They serve the Two Fingers, offering guidance and aid to the Tarnished. But you, I am afraid, are maidenless. I can play the role of maiden, turning runes into strength to aid you in your search for the Elden Ring. You need only take me with you to the foot of the Erd Tree. Then it's settled. Summon me by grace to turn runes into strength. Ah, another matter. I bequeath to you this ring. Use it to traverse great distances. It will summon a spectral steed named Torrent. Torrent has chosen you. Treat him with respect. Shall I turn your runes to strength? Let my hand rest upon you. For but a moment, share them with me. Your thoughts, your ambitions, the principles you would follow.
Could you help us out, Cully? You? Yeah, you there? Stop pretending you can't see me. What'd you go and do that for? Oh, yes. I remember. Some clod turned me into a tree. You were just breaking the spell, weren't you? Thank you. The name's Bok. I was pushed out of the cave. Told not to come back. Not ever. Then I ended up as a tree. Lucky you came along, really. Oh, what a shame. When they threw me out of the cave, they took everything I owned. And so this is all I have to express my thanks. I hope you can forgive me. Or if you can afford to wait for a while, I could sneak back into the cave and bring back something of actual value. Then I'd be of some real use to you, I reckon.
So I think it was pretty funny that for my decision to just avoid fighting the frickin' tree sentinel, I was like, oh hey, you know what, let's go and fight the Knights Cavalry at the bridge here, it'll probably be fine, and I mean, you know, it's not like it was horrible. I actually did pretty well, even if it was just 4 minutes of running around on a horse, which I've sped up to double speed to just make this go faster, but, you know, I could have done better, but it was definitely a difference in the stats compared to where I wanted to be, and that's just kind of what decided it, unfortunately, because, you know, I mean, if I'd probably played a bit smarter, maybe I could have done it, but, you'll see what decided it. It's not like it's the worst, but, yeah, no, these guys can be kind of a pain in the ass to deal with, especially with the horses and how they work and everything. I mean, not undoable, I've beat them plenty of times in my other file, but, you know, this one's a bit new with a different character like this, so I'm not quite used to having to fight him again. Again, I'm still having to readjust the low-level Elden Ring experience, which just is not what I'm used to currently. It is. It's a time. I mean, hey, at least I can say when I fought the guy, I got to a point where I was able to get him off the horse and even get the ground stab. But that was the problem. Certainly the problem that I didn't have the time I needed to follow up, and then just got trashed in other ways, unfortunately. Unfortunately.
Pleasure to meet thee, Tarnished. I am the witch Renna. I'd heard tell of a Tarnished hurtling about atop a spectral steed, and upon looking into the matter, the talk I surmise is of thee. Thou art possessed of the power, no? To call forth a spectral steed named Torrent. Ah, as I had hoped, I was entrusted this for thee by Torrent's former master. 'Tis a bell for calling forth spirits. Summon them with it. From ash and return to the Erdtree, the spirits will obey thine command but briefly. As they recall battles past, now it is thine, to do with as thou wishest. Forgive mine intrusion, Tarnished. I doubt we shall again meet. But all the same, learn well the lands between. How long will it be, I wonder, before the Tarnished tire of obeisance to the two fingers?
Well, unfortunately for that one, Ronnie, Siegfried is a man who is not going to be following the path of stars and the dark moon. No, no, no. He is more resistant to such things and will be following the path that the title of this video has absolutely given away what I'm aiming to do. I'm not a very creative person sometimes. Ironically enough. Okay, so this bit here was me starting off, just wanting to show the stat growth I did after the off-screen grinding and all that. So, you know, the build is coming along. It's progress to be made, and of course, let's just say the first thing I immediately decided to do is go and refight the, the Night Cavalry, because that's what I decided would be a good idea when I got started today. Because, you know, I guess it was just being dumb and seeing what the build could do now. Oh, well. I'll just speed it up again for the sake of ease, because it's still a pretty long fight, spending most of it on horseback and all that.
Is anybody there? Someone who might be interested in rescuing the great Kenneth Height, servant to the True Order and celebrated repudiator of the false? Ah, you've come to lend me your aid, have you? Well, that's very kind, but, no. No, the help is very much appreciated, even from a tarnished. Despite appearances, nobility is no prerequisite to serving the True Order. You might have heard of me, Kenneth Height. Next in line is the rightful ruler of Limgrave, young Tarnished. I would have a boon of you. I want you to take back my fort. It lies to the south, beyond the Mistwood. A knight commander from Stormvale took it. A fool! And plumb mad to boot. Simply obsessed with blood. What are you waiting for? A kiss goodbye? My fort lies to the south, beyond the Mistwood. Take it back for me. Oh, I see. You wish to know the reward. Fret not. The great Kenneth Height is known for his considerable largesse. The celebrations will be lavish indeed upon the dawn of my fort's retrieval.
So, I can't help but kind of find it funny as I'm going back over the footage to edit this down and everything and find the points where it's probably appropriate to actually give comment, just seeing what I did. And, like, in the moment, I obviously see when I make mistakes, but then you go back over it and you're just like, ah, god damn, I really did fuck up. I should not have done that. Like, the first go, when it came to that, Loreswern soldier with the greatsword, that was just a complete mistake, honestly. If it had been for that, I probably would have been able to do this first go, but, trial and error. Sometimes it just happens. Sometimes you fuck up because you're like me and you're using an old controller that doesn't always work the way you want it to, and then you just get killed. Such is life in these games. Such is life.
I've been waiting for you with bated breath. Did you manage to recapture my fort? Oh, excellent news. Just wonderful. And the knight's dead to boot. Well done, my friend. Well done indeed. I knew I was right to trust you. Now, here's your reward, as promised. Go ahead. It's all yours. Right then, time for me to head to the fort. I've much to do. First, I'll have to re-establish communication with the demi-humans. What's that look? You don't believe me? Well, under the Erd Tree, commingling with the demi-humans is made possible. Even the vulgar shall not be left behind, under the rule of true order. Which is why I, Kenneth Haight, next in line as the rightful ruler of Limgrave, have sworn to uphold it. Just you watch, my friend. Just you watch.
Spoken echoes linger here. Words of Queen Marika, who vanished long ago. If you wish, I will share them with you. Very well. In Marika's own words, my lord, and thy warriors, I divest each of thee of thy grace. With thine eyes dimmed, ye will be driven from the lands between. Ye will wage war in a land afar, where ye will live well. Shall I turn you? Let my... Share them with me. Your thoughts, your ambitions, the principles you would follow.
There's no mistake, is there? Death has left its mark once again. Ah, a tarnished, are you? I'm known as D. I hunt down those who live in death and weed their death root. Heed my warning. The village here has been touched by death. And worse yet, it is home to a mariner. If you value your life, then go no further.
See, this is a funny moment where I can actually kind of play into the whole idea of Siegfried as a Templar. Well, not Templar, no, a Confessor. Why am I mixing that up? Anyway, actually do D-side quest, hunt down those who live in death, holy righteous stuff for the Golden Order or whatever, classic stuff. That was also around here where I figured I could have followed the loop back around to Stormvale and just done that, or what I actually did and went back to see Kali so I could get the gesture and start a Blythe side quest, even though, I'm not going to do Ronnie's questline in this character because that's antithetical to the kind of ending that he would go for if I am role-playing as I am. So, leave it there.
Well, you're back. The howl of a wolf in the Mistwood. I suppose he must still be skulking about. I know. Why not meet him for yourself? Next time you hear the wolf's howl, make this signal right under the source. Oh, don't fret. There is nothing to fear. I just have an inkling the two of you might hit it off.
Who goes there? Carly sent you, did he? Ever the bloody busybody. Maybe to him you don't seem so strange. The name's Blythe. I'm looking for a man who goes by Darrowell. He fled somewhere nearby. Or so I've heard. Come tell me if you find him before I do. I can offer you ample reward. Darrowell is nothing but a traitor, and in need of a fitting end to his tale. Darrowell, and in need of a
You must be the new Tarnished. You do well to steer clear of a Gill Lake, fledgling. A dragon roosts there, and it's as fearsome as it is majestic. So, stay clear.
So, I will say this is another moment where I would definitely say I'm almost blatantly metagaming in my strategy for going about things, because going into this fight with Blade to help is actually really good for what you want to do. He doesn't do a ton of damage in this fight, but oh god, does he stagger the ever-living shit out of the Bloodhound Knight you gotta fight. So it's actually pretty efficient and good. Also, apparently at this point I forgot the fact that Darrowell is actually not that tough, and that it turns out a Holy Enchanted Straight Sword does a lot of damage to this guy.
No.
Surprisingly. Like, I was actually a bit off guard from how much damage I was doing once I got hits in. Oh boy. Hey, it's always good. I mean, yeah, look at that first hit. Just from the wave alone, it did most of his health. Oh god, this fight is actually not that hard when you think about it. Guy's a straight up glass cannon, though. Actually kind of like you, as it is.
Right. There you are. Had to work for it, but it's done. Don't say I'm not a man of my word. Here's your prize. Oh yes. I should say, if you venture north to Rhea Lucaria and come across a venerable blacksmith who's a little on the large side, tell him I sent you, and he'll be sure to treat you right. I owe you one, I reckon.